Can someone with a psychology degree tell me why I am scared right now and I'm alone in this room and yet I'm being witnessed? This is wild. This is weird. Welcome to my channel. This is the very first video on thinking chair theorem. And my name is Mandy. I'm here to talk to you about children's media. And it's absolutely imperative because have you looked outside like lately? Everything is going to shit. And this is my special skill. This is the thing that I can contribute to everybody, which is helping you think more critically about the media that your child is consuming. Today's topic is going to be broad, but I'm going to talk about the first 6 years of life. And I'm going to talk about how the child's brain develops. And then I'm going to talk about why it's important to be aware of what they're watching during these first 6 years of life. And I'm going to talk to you about how it might affect them, change them, and influence them into adulthood. Because it has come to my attention First order of business, I need to expose to you the first 6 years of development. As of right now, it's going to be a quick overview. The first 1 to 3 years is a lot of motor development. They're like learning to understand that they're a person, that they have a name, and that other people exist. All of the basic, like most fundamental human functions happen between 1 and 3. But they really start to build their worldview and become curious about the things around them and how they work around between 3 to 6. That's when this period of time is crucial for developing social skills, emotional regulation skills, empathy, manners, like all of the things that you need to be a functioning adult in the world are developed during this 3-year period of time. Not to mention math, English, vocabulary explodes. So 3 to 6. Emotional regulation skills, social skills, empathy, manners, kindness, patience. It is everything. Not to mention, like, the synapses that connect. I don't have the number for you for how many neurons are built during this time frame, but like it is more than half of the brain that you're gonna have for the rest of your life. And if we absolutely just biff that period of time, if we don't give them the information that they need, that they are loved, that they are whole, and that they are cool, their brains are literally smaller. They grow less. And it is so hard to make that up later on in life. I get really fired up about this because I meet a lot of parents that don't give a about any of this psychology. I'm not educated formally in this, and yet I have learned enough through watching their media and doing my research online and reading books that I have picked up enough information to tell you this is the most important thing in the world. The brain develops so many foundational concepts and skills during this period of time that when they are in a position where they receive some sort of trauma in those areas, they feel neglected or they are abused in some way, there are holes in their brain that don't heal. All that to say, their influences during this period are family, school, and media. You have control over two parts of those. You have control over two parts of that. 1.5, right? You get to choose how you treat them. You get to choose what kind of environment they are in to an extent, I recognize. You get to choose their school. You don't get to choose who is at the school, but you get to make an educated decision on what school they go to. You also get to choose their media, which is imperative. I don't know about y'all, but my media built me. My mother and I, we have a lot in common. She's a great woman. The influence from Dora the Explorer, from Maggie and the Ferocious Beast, from Blue's Clues, specifically Blue's Clues, built so much of my identity, which in hindsight is a bit evident in this moment. You go out of your way to be a positive grown-up in their lives. You carefully choose a preschool or a public school. And my call to action is that you give just as much intention and thought to the media that they consume, because they all consume media. It is 2025. I recognize how important screens are to us, and I'm not even suggesting that you take them away. I would prefer it if they didn't have screens before 3, but I understand. Life's tough. We're all broke. We're fighting for our lives out there. The thing is, if you just put them in front of a screen, unsupervised, they can run into a lot that is damaging and scary and useless. Absolutely useless. And there are so many options. There are so many options for fantastic media, and they're very available. I am putting these videos out for you to make it even easier. I'm going to hand you the good media, and you're going to take it and you're going to show your children. You're going to show your children the good media, or I'm going to freak out. Some of my favorites. First and foremost, and this is a popular opinion, Bluey. Bluey is something that I absolutely adore for its accurate and empathetic representation of family life. Chili and Bandit are real parents, and they deal with their kids, Bluey and Bingo, who are real kids. They have family problems that are normal, and they respond to them in ways that are reasonable. They have their own meltdowns. They have their own challenges, drawbacks, all that jazz. They are a great family unit, and they are beautifully built. They are a masterpiece. I recognize it's not as easy for everybody else as it is for Chili and Bandit, but please allow yourself to be influenced by Bluey, in that Chili and Bandit are flawed parents that are always doing their best, and that is enough. Bluey bridges the cognitive gap between parents and children, and I believe that with my whole heart, because I cannot name another show that so accurately and lovingly gives you a family unit that goes through struggles that every family faces, and gives you 4 great characters to model behavior in those situations that is not only realistic, but it also is telling, right? What I appreciate about the Heeler family is that they come from a place of not understanding one another often. And that's typically the conflict of the plot of a lot of these. Season 2 is where the meat shows up. That's where you figure out, that's where you get to witness this family working to understand one another. And that's, if I can give you anything from this video, working to understand your children by putting the time and energy into putting yourself in their shoes and remembering what it was like to be a child, is invaluable. Absolutely. Like, I recognize that working to understand a 3-year-old is a task because their brains are so new. But Bluey is so cool because you get to see how each character thinks. You get to see how each character feels in these situations that are real. Season 2, episode 2 of Bluey is called Hammer Barn. And the Heeler family has gone to what is essentially a Home Depot, a Lowe's. You know the deal. And the girls are sitting in their in the basket area where you put the kiddos. And they are playing pretend with everything that mom puts into the basket. And the conflict comes up when there's not 2 of everything, right? And that's one of those great moments where an adult would go, God, like, my kid is so irritating. Why can't they just realize that we're just shopping? We're just shopping. Why can't they just chill out in the basket like a normal good kid? I'm going to put my wine down for this. Everything your child does until they're like 13 is going to be play, because that is how they process the life around them. It was Angela Santamera that said, play is the work of the child, and that is the most inspiring sentence I've ever heard in my life, because it is so real. You cannot ever expect your child not to play. And if you did, you would be holding back their cognitive development. Please don't ever do that to your child. You see Chili playing along. She does her very best. She's doing great, okay? Until somebody, I think Bluey drops her gnome, which is lovingly titled her husband. They have ceramic gnomes that they've both claimed as their husbands, and they have like a line down the middle of the cart. They're like, they have yards. They start fighting because Bingo's gnome has like a rake or something, and Bluey's gnome has a shovel. There's a very minute difference. They start fighting over it. One of them gets jealous, and then the gnome flies out of the cart and shatters.
Back the piece of wood before your dining table? No way! Let's go, Bingo!
And then you get this really great moment where you hear an earth-shattering from Chili, and Bandit's across the store, and he goes,
it's probably another Bluey.
Moments like that are why I'm telling you that Bluey is fantastic. Sticky Gecko, Season 2, Episode 12. The 3 girls, Chili, Bluey, Bingo, they're working on leaving the house to go somewhere. I don't remember where they're going. It doesn't matter, because it is a quintessential representation of the girls finding every reason not to leave the house. Not because they don't want to leave the house, but because they're little girls and they have 12 different things in the house. every 5 seconds that they think are so exciting or so important.
No, you find your hat, I'll catch Gecky.
I've looked everywhere.
Bingo teeth!
Oh yeah, can I have my hat like Granddad? I'm just gonna put on my roller skates.
The things that are important to your child will never, ever make sense to you. And that is okay. Please give them the space and the respect to have those things be sacred. Because when you do that, they will feel comfortable coming to you later on in life about things that are actually important. Because they will know that when they tell you, hey, this is important to me, you will trust them. You will believe them and you will listen to them. It will be important to you too.
Gotcha.
Crucial. Rug Island. Another instance of Chili and Bandit doing very well with playing pretend with the children. I think I might be holding my wine like Neanderthal. Hang on. Okay. Bandit has to go to work. The girls hate that. They love Bandit. Bandit's a good dad. They have a consolation prize from Chili, which is a box of markers that hooks together. And the girls put their little rug over something outside. I don't remember what it is. But anyway, they put their little rug outside and they have this play pretend where they're stuck on an island and they're making things work. And each color of pen has a different assigned resource to it. Bandit decides to hang out for a little while. Which, okay. Pause. I recognize. I understand. That's unreasonable. Gotta go to work, otherwise the kids can't eat. But it's this fantastic moment where Bandit comes back and he decides to play with the kids for a little while. And he really gets into it. And at the end of the episode, Bingo gives Bandit a brown pen, which has been 10,001 things in their little game. And they do a fantastic job illustrating the difference between the adult and child perspective. Bingo gives Bandit this brown pen, and Chili asks Bandit,
What did she give you?
and he recollects everything that they have made believe together, and he realizes that Bingo has given him something that she absolutely treasures with her whole heart in that moment. And he responds,
Everything.
I'm gonna move on. Blue's Clues. Angela Santomero. My goddess, my queen. Angela Santomero invented the 4-second pause, which I'm sure nobody knows about because this is a niche. The 4-second pause is such a cool concept. Every single time Steve has a question for a child, he pauses for 4 seconds. Here I am. I'm Steve Burns, right? It's me, Steve Burns, and I'm about to ask your child a question. Perhaps I'm asking them a question about shapes. Okay? I'm like, okay, hey friend, I need you to help me find the square among these shapes. Do you know which one the square is? God, I just knew you would. You're so cool. I love you so much. I'm so glad you're here. He doesn't say that, but he says that. His constant asking, I need your help, friend. You're so cool. I look up to you. I respect you. That is irreplaceable. Absolutely irreplaceable. And if you can give your children that esteem as often as possible, they will grow up to be the most confident and empathetic people you have ever witnessed. Here's why the 4-second pause is profound. These little babies, they have tiny little brains. You cannot conceive how quickly their brains are growing at this phase. And giving them enough time to listen to what you've said, which is a task in itself, because their brains are going boop, 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 all the time. Everything is really cool to them still. They haven't lost their zeal for life yet. They're really excited about everything around them, and they love it all, and they hate it all, and they're enthralled, and they're disgusted. Everything they feel is at 10, and you just have to give them enough time to focus up, hear what you've said, understand what it means, what the words that you said mean, and then develop their response, and then say their response, okay? It takes them time. They are very young. They're very new. They're still building that skill, and you have to give them enough space to do it. When you do, oh my God, it is amazing to hear what they come out with. You just have to give them the space. These creatures, they're so interesting. Just try it. Try being curious about them, and it will show you that they are amazing. I hope that you heard me, because the microphone was far away from me. I wish I could say I was drunk. I'm not. This is just who I am. I would like to talk about Steve. I met Steve Burns at Rose City Comic Con, and it was extremely cool and dope. I wept, and he was there for me, and I cannot express to you how cool that was. The cool part about Steve is that he spoke directly to your child. Steve looked at the camera and he said, "Can you help me? I need your help, and I know that you can do this." And that was something that was pioneered by Mr. Rogers. The very concept of the host of a television show looking into the camera and speaking directly to your child was so revolutionary, because it made your child feel included. It made your child feel engaged in a way that built their self-esteem and made them feel capable, made them feel trusted, and made them feel like they've got this. Steve was my first experience with this. Dora came through with it as well. I didn't discover Fred Rogers until I was a grown-up, because it was a little bit before my time. So Steve was my Fred, and he rocked my socks, because I could not believe that the man in the TV was talking to me. I have memories of watching Blue's Clues and be like, oh, Steve believes in me. Steve thinks that I can do this. Okay, let me figure it out. I don't want to let him down. And then I did. And then he was like, thank you. And I was like, wow. And then he was like, I knew you would help me. You're such a good friend. And I was like, wow. And that's what you want in your children's media. You want your child to walk away feeling more confident, more capable, and more loved. Even if they feel loved by the protagonist of the media, that's okay, because it all equals out in the end. They don't have the concept of the separation between life and media yet, which is another reason why it's so crucial that it's good, because they don't know better. They simply don't know better. And something that I've been really proud of for this franchise is that Josh has not only taken up the torch in a way that has stunned me, but he's also brought this like fresh new energy to it. The music's more upbeat. This might be a controversial opinion. I've heard a lot of people hating on Joshua De La Cruz, and I will not hear it. I will not hear it, because he is perfect. He's perfect. He is so vibrant, and he is so engaging. And that is exactly what the modern child needs. A Steve for a 2025 child would not land, because these kids are moving and fast forward. and they need something more engaging. They need something more exciting. And that's where Josh comes in with his fancy little guitar. He's teaching sign language. He's singing to your child. He's so excited and he's all stoked. And that's exactly what you want as a role model. He's excited about life. He's excited about seeing your kid. He's excited about talking to your kid. He's so stoked that they're here. And also, oh my gosh, I think Blue has a problem. Maybe we can solve it together? It is imperative. It is so cool that he's found a modern way to bring what Steve did into your child's life, and you should be god grateful. I just care about this a lot. I care about this so much. Let's move on to Sesame Street. Sesame Street has been around since 1969. Everybody that I know and love loves Sesame Street, and there's a good reason. Sesame Street models empathy for every kind of person in your community. If there is a person who might be marginalized, Sesame Street has a puppet and a story that makes that person feel welcome and loved in their community. I'm just gonna editing Mandy, please display every puppet that you can find and the community that they make feel understood above my hand here. Just go ahead and slideshow them really quick. Okay. You can't talk about children's media without talking about Sesame Street, because they have been absolutely nailing this for how many years is that? 1970? It's 2025? Come on. Look around. Do you see it? I see it everywhere. Okay. In my notes, I have Daniel Tiger and Mr. Rogers. I'm going to talk about Mr. Rogers first. Mr. Rogers had Mr. Rogers is a patron saint in this household. All right? I would give so much to talk to this man and ask him what he thinks about modern children's media and how it treats children, what it teaches children, and how he would feel about it. Because, okay, first things first, I know, he's Christian. I understand. And I know he had some feelings about Officer Clemmons being gay. But what he did for the Black community is irreplaceable. And Officer Clemmons gets choked up to this day talking about it. Francois Clemmons gets choked up and emotional to this day when talking about Fred Rogers, because Fred didn't give a f***. When they were throwing acid on Black people for being in the same pool as white people, Fred Rogers had Mr. Clemmons on his show. He was sitting outside with his feet in a little kiddie pool. And he offered to share this pool with Mr. Clemmons. That was so radical and cool. And I will not hear any statements on Fred Rogers being ignorant, because he wasn't. He just knew that he had an opportunity to influence kids in a way that was productive and loving, and he didn't want to risk losing his show over one of his co-hosts' identities. I'm not going to say it was a good decision. I'm going to say it was a fair decision. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Slow, deliberate pacing, soothing jazz, classically trained piano music, like gorgeous piano. I listen to the music from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in my free time. I know that's weird, but it's good. Mr. Rogers talked about the Kennedy assassination, Mr. Rogers talked about 9/11. Mr. Rogers talked about divorce. Mr. Rogers talked about death. Mr. Rogers talked about everything. Trust that I will be doing a separate video on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and why I think it's so crucial and important, because I could talk about him for a very long time. Just so that you know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is available for free on the PBS app. I know you have a smart TV, and if you don't, you have a computer. You can watch it now. You can watch it right now for absolutely free. All you have to do is give them your email. Please expose your children to Mr. Rogers. Daniel Tiger, the modern Mr. Rogers. Don't yell at me yet. It is what we have. It is updated for the modern child because Mr. Rogers is slow and deliberate, which is great. It's hard to keep the attention of a child in 2025 because their attention spans have been hijacked. I will be making a hate video for Cocomelon. You're on my list. I have like personal experience with Daniel Tiger making a positive change in kids' lives. I've witnessed it. There's a little boy in my class. We're gonna call him S because I don't feel comfortable saying their names. S has a hard time waking up from a nap. I get it, buddy. And M wakes up a little sleepy, but he manages to pick up his attitude. M has a pretty good attitude about life in general. I love that for M. S cries a lot. He cries a lot about a lot of things, and it's hard to regulate him because he does not want help. S was throwing a tantrum because we woke him up from his nap because it was time to go and move on with the day. And M walked up to him as I'm trying to soothe S. Big tantrum. He's weeping. It's loud. It's a lot. S is having a moment. M comes up to him and he says, "When you feel so mad that you could roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. And you know what that's from?
When you feel so mad that you wanna roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
How do you feel?
Better.
Daniel Tiger. He memorized it. M is freshly 3 years old, and he had that memorized and ready to go. And he gave it to his buddy to help him calm down. That is exactly what you want to see in your media. That is exactly the goal. Everything that is made for your child should be giving them tools exactly like that. Angela Santomero, you're my hero. You're killing it out there. Daniel Tiger has this amazing skill for repetition. They repeat these songs that are tools for processing and coping with the challenges that life brings you, which are skills that I don't even have yet. I'm 26 years old. Daniel Tiger is out here giving 3-year-olds skills that I still struggle with. That is exactly what you should be aiming for with the media that you select for your children. Daniel Tiger, very high on the list for me. And I witnessed it. I saw it working and helping a child deal with their anger. Astounding. Phenomenal. Also, Daniel Tiger is a very accurate little boy. Daniel has moments where he's mad at his mom, where he's mad at his dad, where he's mad at his little sister, where he's mad at his friends, and he deals and he manages that conflict in a way that is unhealthy first and then healthy. He learns from the grown-ups in his life how to cope with these things through little jingles, like when you feel so mad that you could roar, all over the place. And they repeat it and they repeat it and they repeat it in different situations. They apply it to different contexts and it sticks. The term that Angela used in her book Preschool Clues, sticky. The things that she makes sticky are pinnacle, like absolutely amazing stuff that I can use as a 26-year-old woman. Do not underestimate the power of a jingle. What makes a good show? What makes a good kids show? Mindful pacing. Pacing is something that can be used to manipulate your children into paying attention. Cocomelon uses pacing to keep your child's attention on worthless. I mean that. I mean it with my whole heart. I hate CoComelon so much for that, because they are actively taking the part of your child's brain that develops an attention span that lasts more than 5 seconds, and they're nuking it. They're putting it in a microwave. If you take anything away from this video, keep an eye out on the pacing of the shows that your child watches, because that will make or break their ability to focus later on in life. Productive messaging. Messaging that gives skills, understanding, empathy, perspective, confidence, self-esteem. The media your child consumes should be productive. The messaging in the media that your child consumes should be productive. I don't mean we have to save the world. Yeah, it's like super awesome to be a superhero, and I love being a superhero. Yeah, trucks are totally awesome. We're gonna give you a bunch of trucks. We're gonna throw you trucks.
What's Elsa doing now?
The messaging in your child's media should be, you are loved. You are capable. The difference between a square and a circle is this. This is how you deal with anger. This is how you deal with sadness. This is how you deal with rejection. And it should be fun. They should be teaching these lessons through something that's fun and engaging and cool and exciting. The that I see that uses themes that kids think are cool tend to be corporate money machines that offer nothing to your child besides superheroes, kitties, puppies, blah, 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 blah. Repetition is crucial for retention. Anything that's going to help your child will repeat the helpful message over and over and over again in different contexts so that they will remember it and be able to apply it in their real life situations. Loving role models. Steve, Josh, Fred, Elmo, Big Bird, Chili, Bandit, Bluey, Bingo, even the kids in these shows, all of them. Loving people, patient people. It's great to have a mean character, but they better grow. There has to be a lesson attached to that, or they will be a poor role model. Growing and learning protagonists. The protagonist should learn. The protagonist should grow. Music is something that elevates retention and elevates attention and keeps your child's focus present. It makes it engaging. It makes it fun. It makes it cool. Make your media exciting. Make it fun. And please, for the love of God, repeat something productive that they can keep when they leave. Representation of community. What is the thing? Everybody wants to see themselves in their media. And when you see yourself in the media that you watch, you feel actualized, you feel welcome, you feel a boost in self-esteem. Sesame Street is so good at that. They have a puppet for everybody. And they have a puppet for every experience. When your media reflects you, you feel whole. Witness, proud. It is an irreplaceable feeling. We have to fight for fair representation in media, and we've been doing great. Steven Universe rocked my socks, changed everything for me. I didn't give a about children's media until I watched Steven Universe. Last but not least, your media should be giving you tools for life. Something that you can use when you are moving through the world. What is a tool? A tool is something that makes a job easier, makes certain things possible at all. There's a lot of tasks that you need a tool for in order to successfully complete them. Your children's media should be giving your children the tools that they need to move through the things that challenge them the most. Getting pushed, somebody cutting you in line, being served a food that you haven't seen before, saying bye to your mom when you go to school. Things like, I feel sad and I don't know why. My parents are getting divorced. My parents are really upset about the politics of the world right now, and I don't understand it, but they're really scared. Should I be scared? That Mr. Rogers would have talked about, and I miss him so bad. I wish he was here so that he could talk about what's going on right now, but it looks like someone else is going to have to do it. Here's why I care. Children are the future. They're our only hope. I am of the opinion that most of the grown-up community is too far gone. Our dopamine receptors are just absolutely shot. We cannot organize to save our lives. We cannot unify. There's too much infighting. There's too much social politics. We're so busy arguing over what we're allowed to say and do that we are missing the chance to unify and stop the awful atrocities that are coming toward us right now. I have recognized that I do not have the scope, nor the physical body to influence grown-ups in a way that matters. What we do have the power to do is influence the children in a way that matters. And if we influence the children to be empathetic and loving people, to feel empowered and confident in themselves and the things that they want to do, that they care about, that's where we will see change. When they grow up and they start treating each other differently. When the people who are in charge of our country right now die and the youth take over, and they were raised to be loving and kind and good, that is where we will see the biggest change. Media builds us. We live in an era of screens. Everything that we do is a result of some sort of influence. If we can be absolutely intentional about the way that media influences our children, we have direct control over how marginalized people will be treated in the future, over how children will be treated in the future. We need to use that responsibly. Recognize how imperative it is to make sure that we are raising grown-ups that love people. Anyway, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope anything that I said made sense. This is my very first long-form content, aside from filming some TikToks for a part-time job I had at a toy store. I'm very nervous about this, and I hope any of it landed. If you liked what I said, please subscribe. I'm going to say it more. If you didn't, comment on my video, please, so I can talk to you about it. I would love to have that conversation. I'm going to be posting more videos in the future. They will be focused videos about one specific show, videos about movies or franchises or creators. I have a lot to talk about. This is something that I have been rambling about to my friends for a decade now. They've all been very good to me. They've all been great sports about listening. It's time that I put it out to the public and try to make a difference with it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was coherent in any way. See you next time.